Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, we're gonna do a good old-fashioned Q&A. It's been so long since I've done one of these. So I asked you guys the other day on my Instagram just to hit me with all of your questions about pretty much anything. And we've got a lot of comments to go through, so I'm just gonna dive right in. Okay, how did you know you were pregnant? Did you test to have symptoms? I did have some symptoms that were slightly out of the ordinary, but nothing that was like very eye-opening. I talked all about this in our first podcast episode. My husband and I have a pregnancy podcast. It's called The Bristows Made a Baby. I talked like all about it in there, but I did take a test and that is how I knew. What are your Thanksgiving plans? Oh my god, I'm so excited for Thanksgiving. Unless the baby is here and like a fresh newborn, we will not be going anywhere for Thanksgiving. But we are just going to Matt's aunt and uncle's house for dinner. Why did you choose to have a natural birth? What has the process been like? Are you worried or scared? You're so inspiring. Thank you so much. That's really sweet. I just did a lot of research. I read books, I listened to podcasts, and I just align more with like what I want and just kind of like how I am personality wise, and I just align more with the like midwifery model of care versus the obstetric model of care. And I also just like really want the experience of a drug-free birth, which to some people might sound totally crazy, and I totally get it. Not necessarily to feel all of the sensations of labor and delivery, but more so kind of to have that like unhindered, just crazy hormonal response that you get when the baby comes out. I just hear that it's totally euphoric and amazing, and pretty much everyone who I've heard had a natural birth, they do not regret it and they would do it again. So that's kind of why. As far as the process, I have been doing a lot to prep myself for birth. I actually did an entire YouTube video on it. So I've been doing lots and lots of things. I'm like going kind of balls to the wall. So you can go watch that video. But as far as being worried or scared, honestly, not at all. I have zero fear. It was not always that way, but I have come to a point where I have no fear. I'm looking forward to it. I obviously know it's not going to be easy, and it's not, and it also like birth is very unpredictable, but just doing hypno babies and just being super positive, I'm like so excited, and really I'm not worried at all. How will you raise your kid to have a healthy lifestyle? That's a really good question. I absolutely love the you can look it up, her name is Ellen Satter. She is like a child feeding specialist. I absolutely love her outlook on how to feed kids to teach them to be intuitive eaters, essentially. So I'm definitely going to be following that kind of guideline or method of thinking, at least as far as feeding our children. But I think just being a good role model and not ever showing like dieting, which I don't do anyway, or really like hyper focusing on my body or my weight in front of my daughter and future children. That is pretty much, it's just, yeah, being a good role model and teaching them to continue to be intuitive eaters, because we are all born as intuitive eaters. Would you do a birth vlog? That's a great question. We are not going to be doing a birth vlog, and that is mainly because I have no idea what to expect with upcoming labor and delivery, because I have never seen anyone I know that's ever given birth. It's been in a hospital. Any birth vlog I've really watched, it's typically always in a hospital, like with an epidural, and you're just kind of like hanging out pain-free. If that were the case, I probably would, but since like I really don't know how this is going to go down, I don't know if I'm going to be like butt naked, like I literally don't know. And also like filming what's happening and like putting that pressure on myself is like the last thing that's going to be on my mind. I'm going to be focusing on staying calm and in the moment and birthing my baby, not so much filming and all of that. So we won't be doing one. However, we are absolutely going to be sharing the birth story on our podcast. Both Matt and I will kind of tell the whole story, so make sure to check back on there, because we will be sharing everything that happens on there. Best way to start a healthy lifestyle when you want to lose a lot of weight, but in a healthy way where you won't bounce back. Most of you probably know my answer is intuitive eating, and also take weight out of the equation. If you are thinking about weight loss, you're bound to be probably disappointed, and you're probably bound to bounce back, because most of the methods to create weight loss are unsustainable and you will eventually gain the weight back. And it's not because you are a failure, it's not because you do not have enough mental strength. It is literally your biology fighting against you. So focus on just being healthy and becoming a healthier person in general, eating healthier food so that you feel better, and then wherever kind of your weight ends up, that's where you're meant to be. So subtract weight from the equation. Don't even think about it, just think about being healthier and feeling good to be a healthier, happier human. And that is my advice on that. What is baby girl's name going to be? I'm obviously not gonna tell you guys now. We do have a name. We finally picked out a name. We had a hard time, not because we couldn't agree, we were just like we agreed on a few names but felt very mediocre about them. We were both on the same page always, but just couldn't find one that we were like, that's the one. But we've got the name, and we're excited to share it when she's born, but not until she's born. What resources did you use to educate yourself on natural births or to prepare yourself? First off, the Ina May's Guide to Childbirth. That book is amazing. Also, the Mama Natural Week-to-Week Guide to Pregnancy. Her YouTube channel in general, she's got so many videos on natural births. And also, there is a fantastic podcast episode. It's actually, if you go to my pregnancy highlight on my Instagram, I talk about it on there. I show you exactly which episode it is because I don't remember off the top of my head. That is a fantastic episode filled with so much information about just like hospital birth, obstetric care versus midwifery care, and that was like so eye-opening for me. But I mean, like, I am not like against birthing in a hospital. I am like all for, like, you need to go wherever you feel most comfortable. Being comfortable and feeling safe is so critical to birth progressing as it should. And if you don't feel safe without, like, you know, the ability to have pain medication if you feel like you need it, then it's probably not the best environment for you. You should be in a hospital where that's, you know, accessible. So I am like so pro, just like do whatever makes you feel safest and most comfortable. And for me, that is a birth center versus I don't feel safe, honestly, in a hospital. Maybe safe isn't the right word, but I don't feel as comfortable there with all the interventions and just obstetric care in general, because it just doesn't align as much as with what I want and what I think is best for me and my baby. So yeah. What am I most nervous for after the baby arrives? That's a good question. I would say probably lack of sleep, and then also just like the first few weeks of learning to breastfeed. And those kind of go hand in hand. But I will say, like, those have always been what I've been most nervous about this whole time. However, like, now that we're getting closer to her actually being here, and it's not even really because we're getting closer, it's definitely like hands down because I'm doing the hypno babies, which is like actually to prep for birth, like to have like it's like a hypno birth. But it is made me so much more positive and so much more calm about not only just, you know, labor and birth and all of that, but just like becoming a mom and like going through those first few weeks of just like complete 180 of your life, and everything is new and hard and difficult. I was so much more nervous about it before, and like I was still very calm and positive about the whole thing, but I would recommend anyone do hypno babies regardless of what kind of birth you want. Like, it's literally retrained my brain like 1000%. I am so much more calm, and I was calm before, but so much more calm now, and just kind of like, I'm just gonna take it as it comes, and it's gonna be fine. What do you have to do to keep your dietitian practice current? For example, continuing education type things. So as a dietitian, you do have to do continuing education. You have to have 75 credits every 5 years. Since I went to grad school and I got a graduate degree, all of those hours actually count as credits. So I'm actually like set for the first 5 years. But yes, you do have to do continuing education. There's so many ways that you can get your continuing education credits. But yeah, you do have to stay up on that in order to like keep your RD credential. Are you at the point yet where you're just done being pregnant, like get the F out, baby? Actually, not at all. I'm still feeling pretty good. Of course, I'm a little bit uncomfortable. I can feel that there is a head like sitting on my cervix. I'm always a little bit uncomfortable in the car and at night, like, just, you know, there's a baby inside of me. But I still honestly feel pretty good. I am so not to that point. In fact, like, I want her to stay in there a little longer. Like, I've got a lot to get done before she gets here, so I'm like really crossing my fingers that she does not come early. And the fact that I'm 38 weeks now, the fact that it could be another 3 weeks before she's born does not bother me in the least. I'm still feeling good, and I like totally attribute that to just like staying active and eating well and like really taking care of myself, and it's definitely paid off because I still feel like pretty good. Tips on getting pregnant, any fertility advice? TTC is hard, man. It's like an emotional roller coaster, but I would say hands down, just getting your cycle regular and under control if it's not. So many of the products that like conventional products that are out there, like non-toxic products, all have hormone disruptors. Any kind of fragrance has hormone disruptors, which is in like everything. So that's like candles, perfume, all the products you're using, all of those things have hormone disruptors. I had like a crazy, I've talked all about this in my like I went off birth control video, which I actually was pregnant when I found that video, and everyone was like, oh my god, you went off birth control and clearly fertility awareness method failed for you, which is not true at all. I went off birth control like literally a full year before I filmed that video, so it worked great until we decided to try, and yes, she was 100% planned, but I talked a lot about what I did to get my body in check and my hormones in check in that video, but that I think would be the best thing if you're having issues. And the book Woman Code is a really good book to read. I would say take the diet advice with like a grain of salt, because I think it's a little, it's way too strict for like the average woman. However, it's still interesting information, but especially like when she talks about all the products and stuff like that, it's a really good book. When is your due date? It is November 27th. Are you cloth diapering? If yes, what's your plans? Thanks. We have all disposable diapers right now. That is like definitely the plan. I have some friends that actually cloth diaper and are like, it's actually pretty awesome and it's not like awful like everyone thinks it is. So I don't know, maybe I would like give it a whirl when she's like a few months old, but at this point like I really don't have any plans to do so, but maybe that will change. But yeah, as for now, it's disposables. What natural baby products do you plan to use? Definitely like all Seedlings products, which is the like baby line from Young Living. I get so many of my products from there, and I will be using pretty much all of those. And then I have like a couple like DIYs, or maybe just one that I want to make. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Tips on how to keep pregnancy weight gain under control. So this is a really good question. I feel like this is kind of a loaded one. So I've said this before and I'll say it again till the cows come home. I think that learning how to listen to my body and eat intuitively before ever becoming pregnant is like the best thing that I've ever done for myself, because I've been able to go throughout this whole pregnancy like eating tons of really nourishing food, healthy whole food, to nourish my body and the baby and like sustain this pregnancy and feel really good during it. But also at the same time, like I've had like my fair share of like desserts and, you know, pizza and french fries and like, you know, all the things. But I have when you have no food rules and you're just like eating kind of whatever you want, and eating intuitively, like truly eating intuitively, not just eating whatever the heck you want, like eating to feel good, but also enjoying food as well. You just like, you don't have any guilt. Like there's no, and I don't know. And there's just, when it comes to pregnancy, we have this like belief in our culture. I feel like it was more like the generation before mine, or maybe even a couple generations before mine. I feel like this is not so much the case quite so much anymore, but there's like this belief that like when you're pregnant, it's like time to like kick your feet up, eat everything in sight. This is your time to just like binge. You're not going to be able to do this when the baby's here. Like just eat whatever the hell you want because this is the time to do it. And I like so do not subscribe to that. Like that will, you'll just end up gaining a lot more weight than your body needs for that pregnancy, which is not the end of the world, but it's also like not a way to feel very good during pregnancy, and you are just gonna have all of this excess weight that you're carrying when the baby is finally out. And I think it can just be really hard for women to like accept that and be in that body, and I think it just causes like a whole lot of issues mentally, physically. And I totally just do not believe that that is how you should go about your pregnancy. It's certainly not how I've gone about mine, and I think that that's part of the reason that I still feel really good. So learning how to listen to your body and not subscribing to that like, well, I'm pregnant, so like I should just overeat and have whatever the hell I want just because I can, or just because I should, or I've been told to. Don't subscribe to that, because it's just like, it's not healthy. Are you trying anything to get labor going? Any suggestions? Not really. Like I said, like I don't really want her to come early. I would honestly rather her come a little late, because just lots of reasons. Life reasons. I could be in like the new birth center, which would be like a nicer facility and a lot of reasons where I'm totally cool with her coming late. But there are like certain things I'm doing to prep for labor, like help soften my cervix, like evening primrose oil, which my midwives like were totally encouraged me to use, and I'm totally comfortable using it, and like eating dates and things like that to like help soften my cervix. But like I'm not doing anything to like induce labor naturally, and probably won't until I'm like after the 41-week mark, if I'm like, let's get the show on the road. But she's gonna come when she's ready to come. What was your dating life like before getting back together with Matt? Have you had any other serious boyfriends? Yes, actually, I dated someone from like the end of high school through a lot of college, and it was just, I don't regret the relationship because I learned a lot from it, and mainly what like I want in a life partner, which is a lot of like what I see in Matt. And it just showed me how much like he was the person for me and not this other person. But yeah, so I definitely was in one other serious relationship, and it was just like we were not meant to be together. We did not really get along. And it was just like, looking back, it's like, oh God, like why did I do that to myself? Again, no regrets. Kind of wish I was not with that person for as long as I was, but it is what it is, and I did learn a lot from it. So yeah. How old were you and Matt when you got engaged and married? Engaged, I was 23, he was 25. We're like 2.5 years apart. And then married, I think we were 24 and 26. Do you recommend it, or do you wish they happened at a different time? That was perfect timing for us. It's definitely, at least like the area that I live in, it's on the younger side for people to get married, but we were totally ready. We're both kind of old souls, so our timeline was perfect. What products do you use for your laundry? What products would you recommend? This is a great question. So laundry detergents, and like especially dryer sheets, are literally one of like the most toxic items you can have in your house, like above everything else, which is crazy. And they just saturate your clothes in fragrance, and then those clothes are sitting on your skin and you're just soaking in the fragrance 24/7, like when you're wearing clothes, when you're, you know, in your bed with sheets and blankets, the whole 9 yards. I use the Thieves laundry soap, which I love. It lasts forever. And then I use like dryer balls that I get off of Amazon, and I just put oils on them, and that's what I use to like give them some kind of like natural scent that's not fragrance and is not going to harm our bodies in any way. When will the name reveal be? I think I'm just gonna like post on Instagram soon after she's born. I mean, obviously like I want our families to meet her and know her name and all of that before like I'm putting this on social media, but I don't think I'm gonna do like a video. I think I'm probably just gonna post on Instagram. Did you have any anxiety throughout pregnancy as far as concerns for miscarriage, fetal abnormalities, etc.? How were you able to calm down yourself and get through those uncomfortable thoughts? The first trimester is definitely a little tough mentally with that kind of stuff on your mind. But you know, I'm like a positive person in general, and I just always try and like, if I start to have thoughts like that, I always just try and stop myself, and I am like, the chances of that are so slim that it's really not even worth spending the mental energy worrying about them. If that does happen, I will handle, you know, I will deal with it emotionally at the time, but like there's just no reason to put your body through that. Because as far as like stress response goes, your brain doesn't know, like if you're imagining a situation happening or like playing out in your brain doesn't know that that's not real life, and you will actually have like a full hormone stress response to that like literal scene you're playing out in your brain, even though it's just made up. So I try my best to like avoid doing that, and it works for me. But yeah, I mean, like miscarriage can happen and it's scary, but I would just also like, I was so sick during the first trimester every single day that I was like, there's no way I don't have like hormones raging through my body. Like I think if I felt pretty good, I would be a lot more nervous about miscarriage, but because I was so sick, I was like, there's just no way. Like I wouldn't be feeling this horrible if things weren't going the way that they were supposed to. And as far as fetal abnormalities, I was kind of just like, I mean, if that happens, we will deal with it and we will learn all we can, and we'll just kind of figure it out once we learn that news. But for now, I'm just gonna assume everything is fine and roll with that. How many kids do you want, and how soon after baby girl? We would love to have like, I don't know, 3 to maybe 5 kids if we're getting crazy. And how soon after baby girl? I honestly don't know. Would love to have them I mean, if we were able to be blessed with more kids, of course, would love to have them closer in age, but I really don't, like, when we have one kid, we'll go from there, but I really, like, we have no idea what parenthood is gonna be like, so we will kind of figure that out once we have a child. Did your pregnancy go as expected before you were pregnant? What has been the biggest surprise during pregnancy? I would say the first trimester really, actually, the first 17 weeks really threw me for a loop because I was sick that whole time. I didn't expect it to be that hard. It sounds like I had it worse than a lot of people, but some people are sick the whole 40 weeks, which that, I'm like, you are a freaking warrior to any of you out there that went through that. But yeah, I would definitely say physically and mentally I was really thrown for a loop in the beginning. But other than that, I would say it's been going as expected. If anything, it's going better than expected because I thought by this point I'd feel pretty miserable because that's what everyone told me what was going to happen. But I don't, so that's good. I want to be a believer in oils, but I've never had any physical benefits. Any advice on how to change that? So quality is huge. Quality definitely matters. If you're buying like cheap oils, they're like going to be really watered down. They're not like actual essential oils that are like fully 100% pure, even if it says that on their label, because there's like no regulations on labeling, which is unfortunate. So they've got to be like the real deal. So you got to like spend some money on them. And then consistency. Consistency is so huge. They're the opposite of medicine. Like we're so used to like taking a medication and like having some kind of immediate, semi-immediate reaction in our body. But it's the complete opposite of that. Oils like just support your systems and how they're supposed to work. So like you have to be like using them all the time, even if you don't feel like you need them, like for whatever benefit or purpose they serve. And that is how like you just keep yourself well, basically. So consistency is everything. Has it been hard to decide on baby names, or are you and Matt on the same page? I kind of said this earlier. It was really hard to decide, but that's not because we like couldn't agree. I would say we have like the same taste in names. We just couldn't find one that we really both loved. We had a lot that we were mediocre on, but it took us a while to find a girl name that we both were like, yes, that's just it. Okay, oils for baby's room when they are born. I have like the whole Kid Sense line, which not all of those I'm gonna need right away, but they were actually, my sister got them for me. She gifted them to me, so I have all of those. But also just like lavender and frankincense and gentle baby, that is a big one. I'm probably gonna make a roller with just like literally like 1 drop of each of those and like the rest like carrier oil, so it's like crazy diluted. And then also tummy dries, that's from the Kid Sense line. I know a lot of moms swear by that. Again, like 1 drop in like a 10 ml roller, super diluted for their tummies. And then also to support immune systems, Thieves is the best. Is it okay to consume caffeine while pregnant? So first off, it's totally up to you if you feel comfortable doing so. The recommendation is like up to 2 cups a day is considered safe. I would totally recommend reading the book Expecting Better is awesome. They talk about, or she talks about so many of like the pregnancy rules and kind of goes through the actual statistics and the data surrounding them. She's a statistician, the author. And it is such a good book because there is like so many rules in pregnancy, and a lot of them are just so fear-based and like not even like really realistic when you actually look at the data. And also like when people are just different, like their priorities and the way that they go about things are different. So like someone may look at the data on caffeine, 2 cups of caffeine a day, and decide that like it's not worth it to them, and then other people might be like, that doesn't seem to bother me, I'm happy to drink those 2 cups. So I think just looking at the data and not just like blindly following the rules is a really good idea. So that is a great book. What's the weirdest, most unusual thing you've been craving? Honestly, nothing. I've had no weird cravings, which is like kind of disappointing. I like was hoping I would have at least one, but just like normal stuff like chocolate chip cookies, and I really want sushi but really can't eat raw fish. But yeah, just like normal cravings, nothing weird. What are your favorite podcasts? I actually did a whole blog post on, I think there's like 21 podcasts on there, which is pretty up to date. A lot of my favorites are on there. If you go to my blog, there's a whole post on it. Are you planning on ever moving to a different house or even a different state? That's a great question. We definitely plan on moving to a different house at some point. We love the house we're in now. We have no reason to leave it anytime soon, but we for sure don't see ourselves living here for definitely not forever. We want like land, we want like some animals, like I want a chicken coop. That's like been my dream since I was like 12 years old. So that is definitely like down the road. So we're working really hard to make that dream happen. But will we ever move to a different state? No. I mean, we're in Delaware. We might move to like Pennsylvania, which is like, they're right next to each other. I grew up in Pennsylvania and I live 20 minutes from my parents, and I'm in Delaware. So they're very, very, very close, at least where we are within the state. But I don't think we'll ever move because our whole family is here. It's why we stuck around here. Both sides of our family extended. So yeah, we want our kids to be able to be around their grandparents and their cousins and their cousins and the whole 9 yards. So I don't think we'll ever be leaving. Do you ever face negativity from family, friends for living a healthy lifestyle? No, I don't feel like I've ever experienced that. I never push any of my ideas on any other people. I never really talk about like health and nutrition unless I'm asked about it. So I just feel like I just kind of do my thing. I live my life, and like it's really no one's business. And since I never really like push that on people or like judge people for their decisions when it comes to health or food or whatever, I just like, that's never really been a problem. Birth control after baby is here. How far apart do you want your children? I already answered the second question. So I practiced the fertility awareness method before. I will definitely not be going on any kind of hormonal birth control because I do not like it at all. I like to be more natural, but we'll definitely have to use some other methods before my period comes back, because you never know when you're going to be ovulating until you get your period for the first time, and then I could start using the fertility awareness method more reliably. But yeah, don't have any plans to go on like the mini pill or anything like that, because that is just like so not my jam. Do you know any oils that can help to increase fertility and regulate cycles? Thoughts on Progestins Plus and Endoflex? I use both of those. Progestins Plus literally changed my like life. I think the combination of using Progestins Plus, I talked about this in my why I went off birth control in depth, but I'll just quickly mention it. Switching over all my products to non-toxic and using Progestins Plus literally changed my entire cycle. It was never ever regular. It was always awful and horrible and dreadful when my period came, and then it literally totally regulated itself, and it was like my period symptoms were hardly even there, like totally normal. What workouts have you done during pregnancy? Any running? I have not been running. I wish that I could be running. I think just because like once I finally wasn't sick anymore and I was actually able to like do more activity, which would be running. It was the dead of summer and it was so freaking hot. Like honestly, I think it would be dangerous for me to be running in that heat since I was not in running shape at all. I tried to run once it cooled down in the fall, but it just like my body was just like not having it. I had like awful round ligament pain when I attempted, so I just was like backed off of that, and I was like, okay, if I was pregnant like through the winter maybe, and I could actually like run through pregnancy, maybe I could have done it. But I've just been doing a ton of walking instead, and also like strength training, and I go to a pelvic floor class once a week, which is like a pelvic floor strengthening class. Is taught by a PT. It's awesome. How do you get started in selling oils? So it's really easy. You just like get a starter kit and start experimenting, and you just kind of share how you use them and how you love them, and if people ask questions and want to get started themselves, you just kind of help them get started and, you know, educate them, and that's like pretty much all there is to it. I did get a couple questions on here about hospital bag, what I'm packing, or birth center bag, but I did just do a video. You may already know this if you're watching this now, but I did just do a video on it showing you everything that I pack, so you can go check that out. What hair care products do I use? I use the ones from InnerSense, their shampoo and conditioner and leave-in spray, and then I also use the Mira hair oil from Young Living. It's like pretty much literally all I use on my hair, and I love them so much. I got so many questions about if I've gained weight during pregnancy. Yes, I've gained weight during pregnancy, of course, and plans like to lose it like once the baby's here, and like all of that. A lot of like specific questions wanting to like how much weight I've gained. To be honest, like I have not even really been paying attention to it that much. I did actually have a midwife appointment today, and I had to weigh myself, and I think I'm like 25 pounds, like right in that ballpark. It's just like so not been something I'm really focused on, because again, like I'm just like intuitively eating. My body is in the driver's seat. I am just, you know, following its cues, and I feel like my body is just gaining the weight that it needs to gain. Not too much, not too little. I just feel like I'm fully trusting my body, and it seems to be working out great. Which is how it's designed to be, right? And as far as like plans for afterwards, like I don't know, it's like so not on my mind. Like I feel like since most of the, I haven't like gained, I've just gained what my body needed to gain. So I feel like so much of the weight is blood volume and like breast tissue and a baby and placenta and amniotic fluid, and like so much of that is just like gone, like, you know, is pretty much gone soon after the pregnancy is over. And I'll definitely have like a new normal. Like my body's never going to be the same, I'm sure. It's definitely different, stretch marks, like the whole nine. But yeah, I'm just like not super concerned about losing the weight. I just want to like be able to get active, remain active, I guess, because I'm still active, more active, and just continue to eat well and just kind of like see how it goes. What oils are you taking for delivery? I actually showed all of them in my hospital vet or birth center bag video. Oh, I like this question. How many kids do you, Matt, want to have, and how many dogs? I already answered the kids part, but I love the dog question. We so want another doodle, but we're gonna wait until we, I don't know, probably until baby girl is like at least kind of old enough to like appreciate having a puppy. So we're definitely gonna wait a little longer to get another one. But oh my gosh, Rosie would love a buddy, and if I could, I'd have like 5 dogs. Like we both love dogs. Are you planning on piercing baby girl's ears? If she wants to get them pierced when she's older, totally down. I think I'll just like let her decide like what, if and when that happens. Also, like I remember getting my ears pierced when I was like, I don't remember how old I was, but I remember going to get them pierced and I was like super excited about it. It was like this really big deal. Like it was like so fun. So I kind of like want her to experience that. So whenever she's like older and wants to get them done, then we'll head to the mall or wherever you get ears pierced these days and we'll get it done. What is your favorite DIY essential oil perfume blend? Great question, because I just found my absolute favorite. Valor, grapefruit, bergamot, and the Envision blend. Oh my god, it is so good. What are your feeding plans for baby? Breastfeeding formula, adding in food later on. I am fully hoping to be able to exclusively breastfeed. Who knows what's going to happen. I'm trying really hard to educate myself as much as possible and like create a support network around me for when she's here to support me and hopefully have that happen. But you know, like the baby's got to eat. If breastfeeding is not working out, I am not against using formula. I feel like I would probably use like a goat milk formula. I would need to do a lot more research. Like I don't know. I haven't looked into this at all because I'm just staying positive on the breastfeeding train and not like thinking about it going wrong. But yeah, I mean, hey, if you gotta use formula, you gotta use formula. And as far as like when she starts eating like solids and stuff, like purees or baby-led weaning, I honestly haven't really thought about it that much. I feel like I will cross that bridge when we get there. What are your favorite oils to blend at night before bed? Always lavender and cedarwood, and lately I've been loving Northern Lights Black Spruce too. Oh, it's so good. What are you most looking forward to about motherhood? Oh, that's a good question. I feel like that's like a big one. I just think having that bond with our daughter and just raising her and kind of going through like the highs and lows and just experiencing it all with Matt. I just think it's gonna be obviously like the craziest ride of our life, but like a very fun one at that. And we're both pretty laid back, positive people. So I think, or I hope that we're able to laugh more than we get upset about things. But I know it's gonna be challenging, and I don't know. I'm just like excited for like the whole ride. Okay guys, so that is a ton of questions. I feel like I've been talking forever, but that is it for this video. I hope I was able to answer your questions. I try to do as many as I could, but I'm sure I will do more of these in the future. So thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. Follow me on Instagram so you can see when baby girl is here, but also ask me any Q&A questions in the future, because that's usually where I always ask you guys to ask me questions. But that's it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.